For 6 years, I worked as a mortician to save enough for my son's kidney transplant. The smell of formaldehyde and death was nauseating, and my weight plummeted to under 100 pounds. But when I rushed to the hospital to make the payment, I overheard a conversation between the doctor and my wife. Mr. Cole just called and said the funds for the surgery are secured. Do you still want us to forge the lab reports showing the boy's condition is worsening? Jessica Vance signed the check for the hospital's new pediatric wing with a flourish of her pen. No, that won't be necessary. He's learned his lesson. He won't be so quick to get jealous of Ryan anymore. Ryan Foster appeared, holding our son, Leo. But I heard being a mortician isn't that hard. The pay is pretty decent, actually. It took him 6 years to earn that little. You don't think he's got someone on the side, do you? He adjusted Leo in his arms. Besides, Leo hasn't really lived with his dad for 6 years. Kids get attached to who's around. He might be scared of him. Leo clung to Ryan, refusing to let go. Mommy, please don't make Daddy come back. He has that weird chemical smell on him. It's gross. I just want Uncle Ryan, who smells nice, to be my dad. Jessica's brow furrowed for a second before melting into a doting smile. All right, we'll listen to you too. We'll let him rot in that morgue for 1 more year. Now let's go get some real food. I turned around and tore the voluntary kidney donor application into shreds. From now on, Jessica wouldn't have to worry about my jealousy. This time, I was the one leaving them. My phone rang. It was the doctor. Mr. Cole, we can't delay Leo's surgery any longer. Have you found a kidney donor? My voice was hard as I answered. No, he wasn't expecting such a blunt response. He was silent for a moment. Well, you need to figure something out. We can't proceed without a donor. For 6 years, I would have begged him for help for any option. Now, I couldn't say a word. Ethan, when did you get here? I had just hung up when I turned to see Jessica, a flicker of panic in her eyes. I had to stop myself from laughing. Just got here. Came to see my son. Why didn't you call? I would have picked you up. Don't do that again. I don't want you to overexert yourself. I gave a stiff nod. I had a feeling that soon, my request to see my own son would come with even stricter conditions if I was allowed to see him at all. When I walked into the hospital room, the first thing I saw was Leo laughing and joking with Ryan Foster. They looked more like a family than I ever did with my own son. The moment Leo saw me, he recoiled into Ryan's arms, desperate to avoid any contact. I used to think he was distant because I wasn't around enough. To pay for his treatment, I had to swallow the pain of leaving him, forcing myself to work. I'd even slept in a morgue on late nights. And all it earned me was, he has that weird chemical smell on him. It's gross. Uncle Ryan, do you smell something really bad? I don't want to be in here. Can you take me to the park downstairs? A sharp pain shot through my chest. I knew he was talking about me. Ryan shot me a grin, his tone dripping with provocation. Hey, don't take it personally, man. Kids have a much stronger sense of smell than adults. He might not even be talking about you. Some old lady brought a dog in here earlier, and a nurse chewed her out. Maybe he means the dog. Some people just have no public decency, you know? He continued, his eyes fixed on me. Don't know their place. Bringing an animal into a hospital. I say kicking her out was too lenient. Should have had security drag her out. I ignored Ryan's passive-aggressive jabs. He was irrelevant, but the person who broke my heart was my own son. I couldn't process the sheer depth of his animosity toward me. For 6 years, my job meant I had to live at the funeral home, unable to be with him day in and day out. When Ryan had offered to help look after him, I was genuinely grateful. I even told Leo to call him his godfather. Ryan carried Leo out of the room to get some fresh air. At the door, he paused and turned. Jess. He didn't even need to finish the sentence. Jessica understood immediately, draping her coat over both of them. It's windy out. Don't be too long. She watched them walk away, the very picture of a wife seeing off her beloved husband. My fist clenched, my heart aching so badly I could barely breathe. I should get going. Jessica didn't ask me to stay, but she insisted on walking me downstairs. As we were about to part, she seemed to remember something. You didn't hug Leo today. Why not? I shook my head. I had a cremation right before I came. I've still got the smell of smoke on me. He doesn't like it. Jessica frowned at my words, instinctively taking a step back and creating distance between us. Well, you should hurry home and change, and take a good, long shower. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. So that's how much she despised me. And I, like an idiot, had always mistaken her words for sweet concern. Ryan works hard, taking care of Leo. You should be more polite to him. Don't scowl like you were earlier. It's embarrassing if people see. I froze. I never thought I would become something Jessica was ashamed of. But I guess the moment I agreed to work at a funeral home 6 years ago, she had already started looking down on me. My eyes fell on her slender hands. Jessica, where's the wedding ring I gave you? I was afraid I'd damage it, so I left it at home. I forced a smile that felt more like a grimace, because the wedding ring she'd thrown in the trash was currently clenched in my right fist. I suppose $1,000 ring was too cheap for her. It wasn't just the ring, it was me too. Seeing the tears well up in my eyes, she realized she'd gone too far and offered a half-hearted apology. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. My mouth just runs faster than my brain sometimes. I didn't mean anything by it. Don't be upset. I wiped my eyes and managed a weak smile. It's not you. Just got something in my eye. As I turned to leave, Jessica stood there, stunned. I had never been so cold to her before. Every time we met, I was a fountain of endless conversation, never wanted to be the first to say goodbye. She probably chalked it up to me being tired and didn't think much of it. Suddenly, Leo and Ryan burst out from a small grove of trees nearby, letting out a cheer. You're the best, Mommy. He left without suspecting a thing. Uncle Ryan, can you stay at our mansion tonight? I want you and Mommy to tuck me in, one on each side. My entire body started shaking. A searing pain shot through my spine, which was chronically sore from bending over my work for years. I collapsed to my knees on the cold pavement. After a moment, I managed to pull myself up and fled the hospital as if escaping a fire. I pulled out my phone and Googled my wife, but searching Jessica Vance yielded nothing of note. Then I remembered the name Ryan had called her. Jess Yao? I deleted her name and searched for Jessica Yao Vance. Instantly, a long list of stunning credentials filled the screen. My eyes widened in disbelief, a wave of bitterness washing over me as I read. Her real name was Jessica Yao Vance, the daughter of a New York City real estate mogul, a bona fide heiress from an empire of wealth. And Ryan Foster had known her identity all along, which explained his casual, intimate use of her middle name. Only I had been kept in the dark for 6 years. I called my parents and told them everything, including my decision to file for divorce. After a long silence, they asked when I was coming home. My train ticket is for 3 days from now. I'm never coming back here again. I returned to our small, 2-bedroom apartment. I had poured my entire life savings into it, our marital home, hoping to give Jessica a warm, happy life. Only now did I realize that Jessica, with her sprawling suburban mansions, would never have cared for this place. My parents had been against our relationship from the start, but I was blinded by love and stubbornly went against their wishes. I even threw their warnings back in their faces, vowing I'd be happier than anyone. Reality had just delivered a brutal slap. Luckily, since she never cared for the apartment, the deed was only in my name. I took a few pictures, listed it on Zillow for 40% below market value, and got a call almost immediately. I didn't take a single thing with me. I left everything for the young couple who came to see the place. I helped them through the closing process, watching them change the name on the deed. They clutched the document and wept, holding each other and murmuring about how they finally had a home of their own. I smiled and congratulated them, my eyes filled with an envy so deep it hurt. A beautiful marriage like theirs was never in the cards for me. Mine was built on too many lies. It was always destined to end in tragedy. On the day I was set to leave, I got an unexpected call from Leo's teacher. Mr. Cole, hi. Leo got the highest score in his grade on the final exams. We're giving him an award at the parent-teacher conference, and we were wondering if you'd be able to attend today. I was about to refuse when she added that his English essay about his father had received a perfect score. She said it was so heartfelt and moving that she wanted to read it aloud as an example for all the parents. The bond between you and your son moved all of us to tears. Please, you have to be there. It's what Leo wants. I hesitated. Did my son really want me at that conference? The father he admired so much in that essay. Was that really me? I ended up agreeing and made my way to Franklin Elementary. As I reached the classroom door, I heard my son's proud voice from inside. My dad is coming any minute now. He promised me he would be here today. I froze. I hadn't spoken a single word to him 3 days ago, let alone made any promises. I didn't even know about the conference until his teacher called. Who had he made a promise with? Could it be? Before I could process it, the enthusiastic teacher spotted me and ushered me into the classroom. I met my son's startled gaze, feeling completely out of place. Compared to the other parents, my worn clothes were shabby and threadbare. "Leo, Dad's here." His expression shifted instantly to one of horror. "Leo, isn't that your dad?" his deskmate asked curiously. Leo instinctively shook his head, then bolted toward the door, throwing himself into the arms of Ryan Foster, who had just arrived. "He's my dad." "Not you, I don't know you." My hands, which had been reaching for him, were left hanging in the air. The other parents started staring at me with suspicion. "Who is this guy then? How can he just walk into a classroom? He looks dangerous. What is the school's security doing? Someone call the police. Don't let him leave." As the situation escalated, Ryan stepped forward, feigning kindness. "No need for the police. He's a mortician from the city funeral home. He deals with, decomposing bodies all day. It's a tough job. Let's just let him go." Hearing this, the parents immediately clutched their children and shrank away, their expressions turning from suspicion to open disgust. "What? Dead bodies. God, what a creep. My day is officially ruined. No wonder my stocks tanked this morning. I knew I had a bad feeling. Get away from me. Don't touch me." They started throwing things, crumpled papers, half-eaten apple, and someone even sprayed sanitizer in my direction. They shoved me out of the classroom. Suddenly, a brick struck the side of my head. Pain exploded, and blood streamed down my face. Stunned, I looked back and saw my son. He was glaring at me, furious, as if blaming me for showing up and nearly shattering the perfect image of the father he wanted everyone to see. Jessica arrived late. She gave me a single, cold glance, told the crowd I had some mental health issues, and forcibly dragged me away. The second we were out of the school, she slapped me across the face. "Don't you realize a job like that makes Leo a target for ridicule? Do you ever think about your son? What kind of father are you? It was just a parent-teacher conference. Did you really need to fight for the spotlight? Or was the lesson I taught you before not enough? Are you trying to compete with Ryan over every little thing again?" The words tumbled out of her, the raw truth finally exposed. The sting on my cheek was nothing compared to the pain of her confession. It was in that moment I realized how clearly you can distinguish love from its absence. I had overheard them at the hospital 3 days ago. I finally understood just how stupid I had been. It all started 6 years ago when I got a promotion that Ryan wanted. He went crying to Jessica, fabricating a story that I was jealous of his talent and his closeness to her, that I had turned the whole office against him. Back then, I had no idea the company belonged to Jessica's family, and that my termination had been orchestrated by her. At the lowest point of my life, she told me our son had a severe kidney disease. For me, that news was a death sentence. For 6 years, I worked myself to the bone, day and night, swallowing my pride, enduring the insults and the disgust. None of it mattered as long as I could save my son. And now, according to her, this living hell was just a lesson I deserved. I wasn't the one who told them about my job. Jessica scoffed. "Ryan was just trying to defend you, and it slipped out. Besides, he's just an honest person. He can't lie. Is that a flaw? Your job is undignified. Are you afraid of people mentioning it? I can't believe you're this kind of person. I never should have married you." A bitter smile touched my lips. I knew she was tired of playing the part of a poor, struggling wife. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. I remembered when I first took the job, following her suggestion. She had comforted me, saying that no job was shameful if it meant saving our son. She and Leo had walked me to work, calling me the greatest husband and father in the world. Now, those same people looked at me with nothing but disgust, shrinking away as if I were contaminated. "You're right," I said. "You never should have married someone like me." I didn't say anything else. I just turned and walked away. I worked hard with my own 2 hands. Every dollar I earned was clean. Why did I have to endure this humiliation? Jessica stomped her foot behind me, yelling that I was ungrateful. She was right. If I had seen the truth sooner, I wouldn't be the broken man I am today. To save for Leo's treatment, a cup of instant noodles was a luxury. Most days, I survived on stale bread and cheap pickles. A mortician's shift is at least 12 hours. I often didn't even have time to drink water. Sometimes, after a service, a grieving family would ask me to stay for a simple meal. The sight of a few slivers of meat on top of a bowl of pasta was enough to make me cry. I was at the train station when Jessica called. Don't forget about Leo's surgery fund. And you need to find a donor fast. You're his father, after all. You don't want to disappoint him again, do you? I was silent for a long moment before I spoke. Let me talk to him. I could hear Leo whining on the other end, but he eventually took the phone. I fought back the lump in my throat. From now on, you listen to your mother. And no matter how much you dislike someone, you never, ever hit them with a brick. Do you understand? He didn't answer. He just let out a disdainful little scoff. I hung up, transferred the entire 6 years of savings to a hospital charity fund, snapped my SIM card in half, and boarded the train home. That evening, Jessica was having cocktails with friends at a high-end bar, but she was visibly on edge. Before she had left, Leo had said something that stuck with her. I don't think Daddy's coming back. After she recounted my phone call, Ryan Foster immediately dismissed it as another one of my pathetic attempts to play the victim. Jessica wanted to believe him, but the knot of anxiety in her stomach only tightened. Chloe Cole, sitting next to her, suddenly spoke up. I have to fly back to Boston tomorrow. My cousin, the one who's practically a ghost, has finally decided to come home. She spoke of her older cousin with a look of pure adoration. He was a legend, but aside from Chloe, no one in their New York circle had ever met him. The Cole family was a mysterious and powerful clan in Boston, commanding respect from all the old money families. Someone at the table laughed. Maybe he and Jessica's husband can meet up. They're kind of in the same line of work, right? The group erupted in laughter. They all knew Jessica was in a sham marriage with some mortician. A man with such a grim profession would never be accepted by her parents. What they found fascinating was that she not only had a child with him, but had also faked poverty and hidden her identity just to be with him. Still, with Ryan always in the picture, everyone assumed she was just slumming it for a while. They were all betting that Ryan would be the one standing next to her at a real wedding altar. Jess, it's been years. When are we finally going to meet this husband of yours? Jessica put down her glass, her tone leaving no room for argument. He's very private. He doesn't like meeting new people. Just then, Chloe shot up from her seat, her face pale as she looked at her phone. My cousin's been hurt. I have to go. Jessica's eyes darted to Chloe's illuminated screen. She saw a photo of a man with blood streaming from a gash on his forehead, his features blurred by the crimson stain. She felt a strange jolt of recognition. He looked like Ethan. Chloe's last name was Cole. Could it be? Once the seed of suspicion was planted, it was impossible to ignore. Jessica couldn't stay a moment longer. She made an excuse and left, but she was too late to catch Chloe's car as it sped away. She called the owner of the funeral home. He was another person she had put in place, someone meant to monitor my every move. Ms. Vance, Ethan hasn't been back. He called me this afternoon and said he was taking a 5-day leave to visit family back home. A thunderclap went off in Jessica's head. I had never mentioned any of this to her. As soon as she hung up, she got a call from the doctor. Ms. Vance, Mr. Cole paid the surgical fees in full, but he didn't say anything about a donor. I've been trying to call him, but his phone is off. Panic, real and sharp, seized her. She barely heard what else the doctor was saying. She hung up and dialed my number. A recorded message said the number was no longer in service. The phone slipped from her grasp, shattering on the pavement. A sudden, hollow emptiness opened up inside her, a feeling that something that had once belonged to her was now gone forever. Back home, Jessica tossed and turned, unable to sleep. She replayed my cold demeanor during my last visit, the uncharacteristic tone in my voice. An unsettling frustration churned in her gut. She had never imagined I would leave. For all these years, I had listened to her every word, never once arguing. I even took on a morbid job at a funeral home without complaint. That had to be proof of my love for her. Someone who loved her that much, whose world revolved around her. How could he just disappear without a word? For the first time, Jessica felt a tremor of doubt. Did I know she had been lying about being poor? But even if I did, she couldn't see what she had done wrong. Her parents would have never approved of me, so this was the only way for the three of us to be a family. She spent the night calling the funeral home owner and the doctor, ordering them to report any news of me immediately. Determined to find the truth, she booked a flight to Boston. After a 4-hour flight, she finally arrived. When she located the Cole family estate, she was denied entry at the gates. Chloe came out to meet her, her expression glacial, her eyes filled with rage. "Jessica Yao Vance, you're not welcome here. Get out, and don't let me see you again. If I do, I'll knock you on your ass." With that, Chloe slammed the heavy iron gate shut with a resounding clang. Humiliated, Jessica felt the unease in her heart grow stronger. But without seeing me at the estate with her own eyes, she couldn't be sure. Defeated, she turned and walked away, passing by the car that was driving me home without even realizing it. Jessica flew back to Philadelphia and drove straight to the apartment I had bought, our first home. She and Leo hadn't stayed there in a long time. She had told me they were sleeping in a private room at the hospital, but in reality, they had moved back into her family's private mansion in the main line. She frantically punched in the keypad code, but the door remained locked. An electronic voice announced, "Incorrect code. Please try again." As Jessica was trying to code again and again, a police car pulled up. Someone had reported a possible break-in. The door opened to reveal the young couple who now lived there. They had thought she was a burglar. Jessica stared at them, unable to believe that strangers were living in the home that was supposed to be hers and mine. "Where is Ethan Cole?" she demanded, her voice trembling. The answer was a bucket of ice water over her head. "Mr. Cole sold the house to us. All the paperwork is legal. You can see for yourself." Jessica saw my signature on the sales contract and finally accepted the truth. I had really sold it. "Who are you?" the new owner asked. I'm his wife," Jessica whispered, the words tasting like ash in her mouth. She had used a fake ID to marry me. If the police investigated, she could be charged with a crime. "Didn't he talk to you about this? He sold it to us for 40% under market value. He seemed to be in a real hurry. He didn't take anything with him, either. Said he didn't need any of it and left it all for us." The world spun around Jessica, and she stumbled backward. She and I had picked out every piece of furniture, every paint color, every fixture in that apartment together. Sweet memories flooded her mind, followed by a wave of grief so powerful it buckled her knees. She couldn't accept it. "Oh, Mr. Cole also left this," the wife said. "It's too valuable for us to keep, but we have no way of contacting him now." Jessica looked down at the open ring box. Inside, nestled on the velvet, was my wedding ring. The blood drained from her face. How could the ring be here? Jessica distinctly remembered taking it off a few days ago and tossing it into a hospital trash can to appease a pouting Ryan. She suddenly remembered me staring at her hand, asking where her ring was. She had lied and said it was at home. I must have already found it by then. No wonder I had given her that smile that was more painful than tears. It wasn't because her words had hurt me. It was because my heart had already died. Jessica covered her mouth, sinking to the floor and letting out a choked sob. She regretted it. She regretted not telling me the truth about who she was. And she regretted not noticing the change in me sooner. Her phone rang. It was Leo, his childish voice choked with tears. "Mommy, I had a nightmare. I dreamed that Daddy left us and isn't coming back." Jessica forced herself to swallow her own sorrow, comforting him through her tears. "That's just a dream, sweetie. Daddy loves you and me more than anyone in the world." She wiped her eyes and stood up, clinging to a shred of hope. I still loved her. I had to. I was just angry. A few sweet words, a little coaxing, and I would come back. After all, we had a son together. I had endured 6 years as a mortician just to save him. How could I possibly abandon him? From that day on, Jessica began a frantic, citywide search, determined to find me. One day, she got a call from the funeral home owner who claimed to have a lead. She rushed over, only to find not just the owner, but a crowd of people, the families of the deceased I had cared for. They held plaques and banners, thanking me for giving their loved ones a final, peaceful rest. Jessica didn't dare accept any of them, because she knew each one represented countless sleepless nights and an endless parade of corpses I had to face. Being a mortician was considered a grim, undesirable job for a reason. You saw death in its rawest, most unfiltered form, without an iron will and an almost inhuman level of psychological fortitude. It was impossible to last, and I had done it for 6 years. Then, she received a call from Leo's teacher. Mrs. Cole, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I feel I need to explain something. It was my idea to invite Mr. Cole to the parent-teacher conference. I never imagined something like that would happen. I overheard what you said to him, and I feel terrible. Please, could you apologize to him for me? Also, as Leo's teacher, I always stress to my students that all professions have value and that everyone deserves respect. Don't you agree, Mrs. Cole? Jessica opened her mouth, but no words came out. She felt as if she had been slapped across the face, her cheeks burning with shame. After several days without any sign of me, Leo broke down. He developed a high fever in the middle of the night and had to be rushed to the hospital. In his delirium, he cried out for her. "Mommy, is Daddy really never coming back? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit him with a brick." Jessica froze, finally understanding where the blood on my head had come from that day. Leo had lied to her, and the only person who could have coached him to lie was Ryan Foster, who had been there with him. It was like a switch flipped in her mind. She immediately called her assistant and ordered them to investigate my dismissal from her family's company all those years ago. The truth she uncovered was more devastating than she could have imagined. The entire incident 6 years ago had been a fabrication by Ryan. I had never conspired with my colleagues to ostracize him. It was Ryan who resented me for getting the promotion and had played the victim to her. He had manipulated her into believing I was petty and jealous, and worse, he had made her the architect of my downfall. Meanwhile, I had returned home, my heart heavy with anxiety, expecting a lecture from my strict parents. But they didn't scold me. They just hugged me and whispered, "You're home safe? That's all that matters." At that moment, the dam broke and tears streamed down my face. A few days later, my cousin Chloe took me to the hospital for a follow-up on my head wound. The doctor said it was healing well, but would leave a scar. Chloe's eyes were red with anger, her fists clenched. "Ethan, I can't believe Jessica did this to you. I'm not going to let her get away with it." I shook my head. "Don't do anything rash. If something happened to you, it would kill Grandpa. Whatever we had is over. To me, she's just a stranger now, not worth wasting the energy on." Chloe was still fuming, but seeing that I had truly let it go, she sighed in relief. "But Ethan, after everything she put you through, you don't hate her?" Of course, I hated her, but the love I once had for her wasn't fake either. After everything that had happened, I had chosen to let go, to give them the freedom they so clearly wanted. When Chloe saw my full medical report, she burst into tears. "Ethan, you've suffered so much." I tried to play it off, forcing a casual tone to comfort her. 6 years as a mortician is bound to take a toll. A little chronic pain, some muscle strain. It's no big deal. I'll get better. The doctor started to speak, but I shot him a look, silently asking him to stay quiet. I didn't want the people who cared about me to worry anymore. Sometimes a lie is a kindness. That night, the pain in my spine flared up again. It was an agony that felt worse than death. As I lay there, drenched in a cold sweat, I stared at the ceiling and let out a dry, humorless laugh. I had never dared to tell Jessica or Leo how much I was truly suffering. I had forgotten that the more you endure, the more life makes you endure. But I couldn't hide it from my parents forever. When they learned the true state of my health, they immediately brought in the best specialists in Boston to treat me. The debilitating spinal pain that had plagued me for years finally began to subside. A full recovery was impossible, but even this was a mercy. It seemed God wasn't ready to take me just yet. One day, as I was leaving the clinic, a familiar voice called out, "Daddy!" I froze. A small figure crashed into my legs. I looked down and saw him. It was Leo. He was sobbing, clinging to me for dear life. "Daddy, I finally found you. Why didn't you come see me and Mommy? We miss you so much." I saw Jessica standing a short distance away, her eyes red and swollen, a look of profound sorrow on her face. I sighed and gently pushed Leo away. "I'm sorry, I don't know you. You have the wrong person." Leo stumbled back, his small voice trembling with disbelief. "Daddy," I didn't say another word. I just turned and walked away. He was in elementary school now. I didn't need to spell out for him. He understood. He had never liked me anyway. He had called another man dad, right in front of my face. Why should I subject myself to that humiliation again? Seeing me leave, Jessica panicked and ran after me, holding Leo. "Ethan, Are you really going to disown your own son? Disown me. I stopped and turned to look her straight in the eye, a bitter smile playing on my lips. This time, I didn't hold back. Weren't you the ones who disowned me first? Or have you conveniently forgotten everything that happened at the school that day? At the mention of that day, both Jessica and Leo flinched with visible regret. Leo grabbed my hand again, his apology choked by tears. I'm sorry, Daddy. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have called him Daddy, and I shouldn't have said you were gross. Jessica quickly added, Ethan, it was all a misunderstanding 6 years ago. I fired Ryan. You can have your old job back anytime. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. Please don't leave. Give me one more chance to make it up to you, okay? I had waited 6 years to hear those words. But now, hearing her plea, I felt nothing. Not a single ripple of emotion. So this is what it felt like to be completely empty. No, thank you. The moment you chose to believe him and lie to me, there was no going back for us. Tears welled in her eyes. But you said you loved me and Leo more than anything. I did say that. And ironically, the two people I cared about most were the ones who hurt me the most deeply. Chloe pulled up to take me home. Seeing them, she jumped out of the car and stood in front of me like a shield, pointing a finger at Jessica. Have you no shame? My cousin cut ties with his own family for you, and you spent 6 years torturing him for some pretty boy freeloader. To keep your leech of a boyfriend happy, you faked your own son's terminal illness. What kind of mother are you? Jessica flinched, trying to defend herself. No, that's not it. I was just scared he didn't really love me. I wanted to test him by pretending to be poor. I swear, I never thought it would turn out like this. Chloe spat on the ground. You didn't think. If you weren't pulling the strings, will my cousin have lost his job and been forced to work in a morgue? What right did you have to test him? Because he loved you. Don't make me laugh. A person like you doesn't deserve to be loved. The color drained from Jessica's face. But Chloe wasn't finished. While you and your son were watching TV in your air-conditioned mansion, did you ever stop to think about my cousin starving in a morgue? When you took Ryan's side and decided to teach my cousin a lesson, did you ever imagine it would end like this? You couldn't even tell him your real name. How dare you stand there and claim you ever loved him? Jessica swayed, stumbling backward. She looked at me, her voice choked with desperation. Ethan, I didn't lie. My name really was Jessica Vance. I changed it to Jessica Yao Vance later. Whether that was true or not no longer mattered to me. Jessica, I believed every single word you ever told me. And it was all just one big, elaborate lie. Do you honestly think I could ever believe you again? She trembled, seeing the finality in my eyes. She knew, in that moment, that there was no turning back. I was gone for good. Daddy, please don't leave me and Mommy. We know we were wrong. Leo wailed from outside the car window. Jessica bit her lip, saying nothing, clearly hoping our son's pitiful display would awaken some lingering trace of fatherly love in me. But I didn't even glance their way. I told the driver to go. Some people, once you lose them, are gone for good. I thought that would be the end of it, but I underestimated Jessica's resolve. Even after everything I had said, she continued to wait outside the Cole estate gates with Leo, day after day. No matter how many times Chloe chased them away, they would always return, begging to see me one more time. My parents, who adored children, left the decision about custody entirely up to me. I shook my head. I don't want custody. He's just like his mother. They never respected me. Forcing him to stay would just create mutual resentment. The story of Jessica's secret marriage and child eventually broke. To stabilize their company's stock, her parents launched a smear campaign online, painting me as a gold-digging, irresponsible deadbeat dad. Overnight, I became the villain in the public eye. Our gates were vandalized with red paint, with "Go to hell, scumbag" scrawled across the stone. I didn't sit back and take it. I immediately gathered evidence and sued the online trolls and media outlets for defamation. The scandal dominated the news cycle. Just as I was preparing for a long, ugly legal battle, Jessica called a press conference. She told the world the entire, unvarnished truth. And at the very end, in front of all the cameras, she named the mastermind behind the whole affair, Ryan Foster. It turned out that after being fired, Ryan had harbored a deep-seated resentment. He hated Jessica, but he hated me more. He had manipulated her parents, using them as weapons to try and destroy me completely. Jessica didn't let him off the hook. She produced years of evidence showing how he had used his position at her company to accept bribes and embezzle funds. Ryan Foster was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison. After the ordeal, Jessica's parents realized their age had made them vulnerable to manipulation. They handed over control of their corporation to Jessica and retired overseas. A week later, I ran into Jessica at a corner coffee shop. She placed a shareholder agreement on the table in front of me. "Ethan, this is what you're owed. It's also my apology for what I put you through." I looked at it. She was unconditionally transferring 50% of her family corporation's shares to my name. I didn't take it. I pushed it back across the table. "I don't need this. You should keep it." Her eyes immediately filled with tears. "I don't mean anything by it. I just wanted to apologize. I was hoping you could forgive me. Leo misses you too. If it's not too much to ask, could you maybe visit him sometimes? He's so jealous of the other kids whose fathers are around." Wasn't that exactly how I used to feel about him? And what did it get me? Nothing but endless deception. Perhaps my gaze was too cold. Jessica lowered her head and began to cry softly. After that tense meeting, she never tried to contact me again. Later, I heard from Chloe that Jessica had gotten her karmic justice. She was diagnosed with kidney failure and didn't have much time left. This time, there was no fool willing to donate a kidney to save her. 2 years later, after she passed away, I saw Leo again. He was much taller. He stood across the street, watching me, his face alight with a joy he couldn't contain. He started to run towards me, but then he froze. He had seen the woman who was now standing by my side, and the baby girl in the stroller I was pushing. In 2 years, my life had completely changed. I had a new family. As my wife and I passed by him, she asked, "What are you looking at? Do you know that boy?" I shook my head. "No, let's go home." I saw him flinch. He watched my retreating back, tears streaming down his face. He finally understood. When I said I would disown them, I meant it for life. I drove home, watching my wife and daughter play together. A genuine smile spread across my face. My life, my real life, was just beginning.